Back against woke, well, it's puzzling. I mean, woke is a version of aware. So, like, if I don't like your verbal shit about trans people or immigrants or thinking you can say the N-word because, well, black people say it, well, then I call you out. I call out your ignorant shit. It doesn't make me woke. I mean, I'm an American, someone who believes in the Bill of Rights, who believes in equity.
Well said. I got a round of applause. Like, this whole thing of, putting everything under the label of woke and under the label of, they're trying to cancel you for free speech. Like, come on. Like, it's not really trying to cancel you for free speech. You're just tired of people being hateful pieces of shit. That is pretty much what it is. And being aware of how you are being a hateful piece of shit. And just because you're not using slurs at every turn, you've come up with more clever ways to be racist pieces of shit. And being able to identify and recognize those moments has been deemed woke. And now you try and use woke for everything. DEI is woke, which that has nothing to do with DEI, but apparently that's woke, to want people to get fair opportunities for jobs and this whole bullshit of meritocracy, when it's really just, hey, a good old boy system. Whatever. Round of applause. What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Trey.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Back at it with another video.
Another one.
Today we're going to be reacting to another video from Really American. And apparently, Vince Vaughn got on Theo Vaughn's podcast and was saying some things about late night entertainment. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Back against woke, well, it's puzzling. I mean, woke is a version of aware. So, like, if I don't like your verbal shit about trans people or immigrants or thinking you can say the N-word because, well, black people say it, well, then I call you out. I call out your ignorant shit. It doesn't make me woke. I mean, I'm an American, someone who believes in the Bill of Rights, who believes in equity.
Well said. I got a round of applause. Like, this whole thing of, putting everything under the label of woke and under the label of, they're trying to cancel you for free speech. Like, come on. Like, it's not really trying to cancel you for free speech. You're just tired of people being hateful pieces of shit. That is pretty much what it is. And being aware of how you are being a hateful piece of shit. And just because you're not using slurs at every turn, you've come up with more clever ways to be racist pieces of shit. And being able to identify and recognize those moments has been deemed woke. And now you try and use woke for everything. DEI is woke, which that has nothing to do with DEI, but apparently that's woke, to want people to get fair opportunities for jobs and this whole bullshit of meritocracy, when it's really just, hey, a good old boy system. Whatever. Round of applause for him, man. Old Chip.
Equity and diversity matters. But you're an ass-scratching hillbilly fuckwhistle. Sorry, but it's true. Now, I heard that Vince Vaughn was a Trumper. I've seen photos like this before. Gulf of America. That's cute, right? But I don't care. I mean, I have a choice to not watch or listen to his one-trick act. But recently he appeared on this guy, Theo Vaughn's podcast. Look him up. He's about as funny as a colonoscopy. And Vaughn decided to take a shot at late-night hosts. He was going after Jimmy Kimmel without having the balls to say his name. And again, Vaughn, a big guy who talks tough, is nothing but a snowflake.
Why a lot of the late shows have struggled. Because
bro.
all they did during the only person they could make fun of at a certain point was just like white redneck kind of people, and it fucking and then everything.
And I think that's not true. The problem is that there were so many different things in the mainstream news and that were happening across the world that would highlight those things. The late night shows are satire, and they make fun of whatever the current events are. They do their little monologue based on what's current events. So depending on what's going on in entertainment, what's going on in comedy, what's going on in politics. Like, if they can find an angle that's funny, they use it. And the fact that it's fucking comedians that are like going off on this little tirade about it is weird as hell. Like, they don't do, like, I don't know how often Theo Vaughn's podcast is, but if he had to do a daily show and have to figure out a way to come up with how make current events funny, or come up with punchlines for current events, he would be doing the same shit, especially when we have a president that just can't stay out of the fucking news because of all the ridiculousness that he does on a daily basis. And yeah, poking some shots at the people that supported him, especially when they also end up in the news, is going to be something that late night TV does, or late night shows do. They've done it for Biden, they've done it for Obama when relevant, right? They do little jokes here and there on everybody. The problem that you have with it is because this is your guy that you've chose to idolize, and you've chose to prop him up like he's the second coming of Jesus Christ. I didn't do that. You decided to do that. So when people talk negatively about him, and rightfully so, because of how much of a piece of shit he is and the way he's acting all day, every day, then you get so offended because you have decided that he is your Lord and Savior, Donald Trump. I didn't decide that.
Tanked after that.
Think about that. But see, they never get it right. The podcasts have gotten so much more popular with less production, less writers, less staff. And the reason why
we have two people working here, and both of them are hungover. And one guy has shingles.
But the place is clean. I like that. You keep a clean place.
Thank you. Yeah, we did a vacuum.
But yeah, because people want authenticity.
Yeah.
And I think that the talk shows, to a large part, became really agenda based.
Yeah.
They were going to evangelical people to what they.
Listen to what he's saying there too. Podcasts aren't agenda based. Yeah, podcasts have they kind of have this weird little both sidesism as far as podcasts are, because a lot of these podcasters that are, they are definitely influencers, right? And the ones that have chosen to speak about politics can do it in a way that it's like, yeah, but what do I know? I'm not an expert on the topic. I'm just, somebody with an opinion. And that allows you that out, right? You know what I'm saying? You don't have to be held accountable for your bullshit take. And especially if you're influencing your subscribers, the eyeballs that watch you. A lot of the podcasters are like, hey, people are saying that we swung the election. And I won't say they swung the election, but they definitely, a lot of people that may have been independent or not really paying attention to politics to a certain extent, well, definitely got pointed in the direction of their own opinion, or what have you, because of the podcast and the media that they were ingesting, right? And they have to own that. So everybody that had Trump on and gave him softball interviews and kind of made him palatable to their audience, you own some of the responsibility for tipping the scales, or placing your thumb on the scales. Is that how the saying goes? As far as shifting momentum towards one side or the other, right? And yeah, I get it. Like, yes, you aren't the kingmakers in this sense, but you played a role, so you have to own all the shit that has happened as a result of it. Like, me personally, you know what I'm saying? If you go back and look at it, for those podcasters that are coming out and say, oh, this is not what I voted for kind of deal, it's like, hey man, it is what you voted for. And even if it's not what you voted for, you voted for it, and this is what's happened as a result of it. So you have to own up to your part in it. And that's all I would hope that people would do. Like, certain people here and there have kind of begun to slowly start owning up to it, but they've definitely tried to step away from it and not acknowledge it wholeheartedly. And I think that's a cop out, and that's bullshit. But my bad. Off the soapbox now.
they thought. You know what I mean? And so people just rejected it because it didn't feel authentic. It felt like they had an agenda. And it stopped being funny, and it started feeling like I was in fucking a class I didn't want to take.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh, for sure.
I'm getting
dude.
scolded. 100%.
Yeah.
100%. And so I think that's the phenomenon isn't what they say. They always blame technology. But the reality is it's the approach. You know, someone could go watch a stand-up at Madison Square Garden and they want to go because it feels dangerous. The crowd is alive. I don't know what Theo's going to do or say. And I love taking that experience. So it's fun. I don't want to stay home and watch it on a TV because I want to experience that live.
Right. And
So
I want it pure.
that's where you're coming from. That's the main point. And I think people are going to tune into a podcast more so because they want to feel like people are having a real conversation. It's interesting to them. But if you look at what happened to the talk shows and why their ratings are low, it's got only to do with the fact of what you just said, which is they all became the same show.
Yeah.
And I think that's bullshit. The reason why those late shows aren't getting the eyeballs anymore is because, let's face it, like the people are streaming things more often, and people are, YouTube, Twitch, like all that different stuff. They're trying to force you to have to subscribe to a certain amount of like what it would have been, normal cable programming, but you don't have to. Like, I don't have to have a CNN, an NBC, a Fox, or anything like that. I can just have Hulu and Netflix and Disney Plus and whatever. I can have all these different streaming services and just go straight to the show I want to watch, the movie I want to watch. I don't have to tune in for this stuff unless I want to, right? And yeah, like late night and all these networks haven't really figured out what the solution is going to be. I think they're in that space to where they're trying to identify what the solution is going to be. But yeah, your podcast also fall into that. Your podcast, I get my podcast off of YouTube right now. All the podcasts that I watch, I watch the vodcast essentially. They have the podcast version, but I watch vodcasts. And so again, he's full of shit. He's even in his own explanation, he's not being honest. He's being dishonest about the reality of the situation. That's the reason why people are ingesting more podcasts. It's just easier to access it.
And they all became so about their politics and who's good and who's bad. And it's like, imagine sitting next to someone like that on a fucking plane.
Oh.
Bro, you'd be like, how do I get out of this fucking seat?
All right, time out. Look, let's talk about that. First of all, no single podcast can touch Jimmy Kimmel's numbers. But let's go back to Trump's attack on Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel's comments weren't about Charlie Kirk per se, but how the Republicans were using it to gain political points. And they were.
The controversy began during Monday's show when the late-night comic started off by claiming that MAGA was using Charlie Kirk's assassination to score political points. But Kimmel didn't stop there. He went on to call out President Trump, who is scheduled to deliver a speech at Kirk's memorial service on Monday, for what he deemed to be an insufficient reaction to the murder.
In between the finger pointing, there was grieving. On Friday, the White House flew the flags at half-staff, which got some criticism. But on a human level, you can see how hard the president is taking this.
My condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. May I ask, sir, personally, how are you holding up over the last day and a half, sir?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks? They've just started construction.
Hey, and let's be clear. For starters, I'll never miss an opportunity. Fuck Charlie Kirk, man. Fuck that dude. Whatever. I'm not going to continue to expound on like what he represented, the effect that it's had on our country, the youth, like all of it. Fuck him. But even he doesn't, even the president doesn't care about him. He took all of 30, not even 30 seconds. It was 2 seconds to say, yeah, I feel bad, but hey, look at my ballroom. It's coming along nicely, isn't it? But at the same time, they were trying to hunt down people that, and me personally, I don't agree with how some people responded to the assassination of Charlie Kirk, but I completely understand why people were responding that way. And it's the audacity of to go after people for responding that way to Charlie Kirk when people were doing all the bullshit that they were doing in response to George Floyd and, you know, and things of that nature. People were going after people for just posting things that Charlie Kirk said in the wake of his death, and trying to demonize them for doing that. Like, whatever, man. This is so fucking complete bullshit how the MAGA movement have just in our face done these things to prop up these people, Trump included, and demean and degrade everyone else and tell you that's not what I'm doing. These people were heroes that deserve a fucking day of, you know, as a monument to them and things of that nature. It's a fucking slap in the face to any minority across America. And for anybody that doesn't comprehend how it is so, like, you are fucking being disingenuous, and you are also a piece of shit if you can't identify the fact that the president honoring Charlie Kirk's assassination with putting the flags at half-staff, giving him an entire day, but barely even acknowledging the passing of Jesse Jackson. Man, you've got to be fucking kidding me.
Of the new ballroom for the White House, which is something they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years, and it's going to be a beauty.
Yes. He's at the fourth stage of grief, construction. Demolition.
And I'm sorry, that's
construction. This is not how an adult grieves the murder of someone he called a friend. This is how a 4-year-old mourns a goldfish, okay?
So Kimmel...
And remember, the response was trying to get him fired, trying to get him off of the network successfully for like a week or so. So remember, those were the comments, and that's how the government was weaponized to get rid of his free speech. He didn't even fucking say anything about Charlie Kirk.
Like him or not, was calling the emperor a twat monkey, which he is. So Trump went after his constitutional rights by threatening ABC's license. This is Brendan Carr, who's the head of the FCC. He's also after Jimmy Kimmel. Kimmel, of course, is the Emmy Award-winning talk show host who shoves the truth up Trump's ass nightly. And of course, that means his lapdog, Brendan Carr, has to get down on all fours and take it from tiny fingers. And Carr is an admitted contributor to Trump's Project 2025, which of course is a blueprint for this.
Renee Good's vehicle starts to drive forward, appearing to turn toward the right, not toward Officer Ross. Officer Ross, near the front of the vehicle, pulls out his gun and shoots 3 times, including as the vehicle appears to pass in front of him.
This deranged lunatic woman was trying to ram him over.
Again, clear distinction. If you are fucking a person that has repeated this bullshit line, you are also a piece of shit, and you are part of the fucking problem. Clear as day. We all have eyeballs. I can see where the wheels were turning. I can see where she was going. She was not turning at that dude. She was trying to get away from him. He did not have to go in front of the vehicle. His phone was hit because he had his phone out trying to record her. So again, you can't fucking tell me not to believe my lying eyes and try and use these fucking narratives that she was a deranged fucking agitator and all these different things. Like, miss me with the bullshit. And anybody that's fucking repeating these lies and nonsense, you could kick rocks. Y'all are pieces of shit too. You don't get to fucking use, you know, the administration's words as some sort of protection against when the reality of the situation plays out. Like, because people were going out and saying, oh, you know, this, that, and the third about Renee Good and her wife, I believe, just repeating what the White House was telling you, but you're a fucking sheep. Look at the video, see with your own eyes, and just anybody in a court of law would see that she was not trying to run that dude over.
with her vehicle and was using that vehicle as a weapon, which justifies domestic terrorism.
But now this goon, Brendan Carr, unhappy that Jimmy Kimmel exercised his freedom of speech regarding the sad irony that Charlie Kirk was killed by the very gun he and MAGA fought to keep in anyone's hands. Crazy or not, they wanted Kimmel now off the air by threatening ABC, and ABC capitulated.
The off-key monologue that got Jimmy Kimmel's show pulled indefinitely.
Now, who's fucking woke? The killer was a Mormon who, like millions of other 22-year-old Gen Zs, didn't vote. But his parents were registered Republicans, and the entire family, with the exception of the estranged sister who's a Democrat, all supported Second Amendment rights. Those are the facts that this goon Brendan Carr says are not up to the standards of the FCC. He wasn't done with Kimmel, though. He attacked NBC and CBS and claims responsibility for
Also, trying to identify this dude and put him in a category, it doesn't serve a purpose for either way either, because everybody's trying to weaponize radical left Democrats, and then the conservative right trying to identify which pocket that they belong in. We have a problem with fucking extremist violence in America. It is definitely more so on the conservative right, but we also have it on the left. It's not non-existent, which would be preferable to any circumstance, right? So I don't like trying to say, well, he's he comes from your neck of the woods or whatever the case may be. I don't like us. I hate, painting everybody with a broad brush like that. I think we need to hold individuals responsible for their actions, period.
Bears firing. Oh, and for the record, Vince, where's your pushback for Trump's reaction to the deaths of Rob Reiner and Rob Mueller?
Go fuck yourselves.
But Vince Vaughn and Theo, whatever you're like.
Go fuck yourself. Because all we got to do is let time go by, and Trump's going to hit us with a tweet fucking talking some shit about somebody after they pass, talking some shit about a group of people, demonizing them to try and weaponize his base to, focus their anger and vitriol towards a specific group of people. And he's not talking about that. He's got words for Jimmy Kimmel, though, and late night TV. The fuck out of here.
Last name is, can say what you want, but Jimmy Kimmel isn't preachy. He's fucking hilarious.
Orange mushrooms would most represent the commander-in-chief of the United States military.
Can you hold it up so it's coming at me at the correct angle?
Yes.
She's quick with it, too.
They might fall off, though. Oh! Is this the one?
It's another!
Trump and Maria Machado, the Venezuelan opposition leader and the winner of the Nobel Peace Prize, he's been whining about not winning for the past 5 weeks. Trump said Machado was coming to the White House to pay her regards to our country. Whether she made that payment in cash or check, we don't know. But after disappearing their president, Trump refused to support Machado as the new leader of Venezuela. And some in his circle believe it's because she didn't give him her Nobel Prize. So then she said, oh, wait, you know what? I will give it to him. I will give him the Nobel Prize. And so he said, yeah, okay, then come on by. And there she is arriving at the White House today.
I know I've been kind of heated as we've been watching this one. And I don't apologize, but can we take a moment to really appreciate the fact that we are living in a day and age where our president can be simply wooed with gifts. And obviously he feels some type of way about not receiving a Nobel Peace Prize, most likely because Obama had one, but whatever. Talk about living rent-free. Anyway, that he is willing to accept a gifted Nobel Peace Prize as an achievement. What is going on with the world today?
They searched her at security, make sure she brought that prize. And she did. And so they let her in, and sure enough, she got to his office and handed over the goods.
Kimmel is on the same track as Mark Twain and understands punching up. I mean, come on. Trump is the president, and he can't take a joke without unleashing the federal government on a comedian. And when Kimmel...
No, he can't take a joke. That's why he hasn't done the White House... What's the dinner that they do? Is it White House press briefing? No, that's... God, Jesus, that's the actual briefing. It's the White House dinner. I don't remember. We haven't done it in so long. I haven't seen one. It's been forever.
Kimmel came back from the ABC suspension. Well, the numbers speak for themselves.
Look how many views Tuesday night's monologue already has. 6.7 million. That's over 25 times as large as the median Jimmy Kimmel video normally gets.
So Vince Vaughn, the truth is, I kind of feel sorry for you. I mean, I really do. You're either weak-minded, you're lazy, or you're somebody who supports a 34-count felon who a court found assaulted a woman and has 28 other women who testified they were victims of his twisted world, not to mention Renee Good and Alex Preddy and 169-year-olds you gleefully killed in Iran. The truth is, Trump supporters are not only snowflakes, but they lack the ability to express a genuine original thought.
You fuck with Trump, you fuck with me.
That's who they are, and now we know who Vince Vaughn is, too.
Goddamn right. Impeach, try, convict.
Just sit right back and you'll hear a tale.
Doing? I want to know what people are actually going to do.
Go fuck yourself.
But that's just your suggestion. You don't actually have any facts.
I am the chosen one.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
Things happen.
Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny. You submit. Submit.
All Americans need a Bible in their home, and I have many.
Go fuck yourself.
They know how to get to me.
I don't want to talk about this stuff.
Am I wrong?
Yes.
Tick-tock.
You're in a lot of trouble, Donnie.
I think he's crazy.
I'm Chip Franklin.
Chip Franklin. Yep, that's really American. That's Chip Franklin. Hey, y'all let me know what y'all think. I talked a lot during this one, but this one definitely struck a nerve with me. But y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section below. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Let me know if you liking the content or what you would have me change. But until next time,
I don't think you wanna be my enemy. I pop out, they go wild, so celebrity. Too busy winning